Hello everyone, welcome back. And today we are going to discuss the game played between Jan Nepomniachtchi versus Dubov Daniil, and this game is from the Wch Blitz 2022. And the game is extremely epic, so all the Sicilian players, I would recommend this video for them. Typically because the opening was Sicilian. So before jumping into the game, Jan is having the rating of 2782 in the Blitz format, and Dubov is having the rating of 2792. And as we know that Dubov is very talented, he likes to play a complex position, he likes to play a very interesting chess for the crowd, I would say. And Jan Nepomniachtchi, whereas have been selected for the World Championship title to fight against Daniil. So it's going to be very interesting. So let's check out the game. So Jan is playing with the white pieces and he opens up the game with 1 e4. And Dubov with the black pieces replied with c5. We have knight f3, e6, d4, takes, and now knight to f6. We have the Sicilian defense, knight to c3, and knight to c6. We have the Taimano variation on the board. And after knight c6, here there are many ways to continue the position. Like bishop e2 would be a normal move. But what happened in the game, knight d2b5, which is also a fine move. This move has been played many times. So after knight b5, I would like to ask you a question. What are you going to play in this position from the black? If you are a Sicilian player, I think the move is going to be very common. So what is going to be the move? Okay, so I hope that most of you would have opted for the move d6. And the idea is pretty sensible. You are stopping from the knight on coming to d6. Because if you try to make a move like a6, here we have simply knight to d6. And after takes, you can already sense that you haven't give up the dark square bishop, because now the dark square bishop of black is extremely weak, and white is having the dark square bishop to exploit black's dark squares. So it's not a good idea. So definitely d6 is a very logical move. But what happened in the game after knight to b5, here Dubov went for a very interesting variation and a very complicated variation, which was bishop to c5, developing the bishop and allowing knight to d6. Here comes knight to d6 check, and here many of the players would have, without any thought, would have simply captured the knight, and after takes, they think a move like queen e7 and the game goes on. But the bishop f4 is the best move in this position. Like after takes, stopping black to short castle, also not allowing black to expand in the center. So yeah, but after knight to d6, the main purpose of making the video is to consider a complex variation which is not in the trend, and you can implement it into the game and score some points. So after knight to d6, you can, with the black pieces, can play the move king e7. It's a very good move, and it's actually a very fine move from the black side. The basic point here is you're simply targeting the knight. And if you want to protect the knight, you can either move the knight, or you can either protect by playing the bishop to f4. So in the game, we have bishop to f4. Well, we are going to discuss what happens if white tries to move back the knight, like knight to f4. If knight to c4, here we simply have d5 and black is better. Black is actually having a good advantage. Here after d5, if you try to capture, we simply have e takes, hitting the knight, and if you go back to knight e3, we simply have push and the knight is trapped. If you go to knight to a3, here we have d4 and soon rook e8, king f8, and you can already sense that black is better. If knight to d2, knight to g4 is winning because f2 is hanging. Now you can't really protect the pawn. And yeah, stuff like that. And like if you don't capture, if you try to play something like knight a3, you simply lose the pawn. That's it. So that's the main reason. If you try to go like knight to b5, here we have a6. You have to go to a3 because here you lose the piece. So after knight to a3, we simply have b5. The idea is to play b4, and here black can simply play d6. Like after here, you really have to play back the knight to b1. And after queen d6, I guess this is winning for black. So yeah. So after considering all the moves, the best move is to play bishop f4. You are developing the piece and also protecting the piece. we have e5 by black, which is the best. Knight to f5 check, the only move to keep the game ongoing, or else you are going to lose the bishop or the knight. So knight to f5 check was played, and here we have king to f8. Bishop to g5, because the bishop was attacked, it is a very sensible move. You are pinning up the knight, and your idea is to put the knight to d5. So to stop this idea of knight to d5, black plays bishop to b4, pinning up the knight. Here we have bishop to c4. And here, guys, here's my first question. What are you going to play in this position from the black? You are in Dubov's shoes. He likes to play a very creative chess. I guess if you are if you are a good, I would say, if you like to play complicated chess, if you are a Sicilian player, I guess you might find this move. What is the move in this position? Okay, so all those who have came up with this move, d5, very well, this is the best move in the position. And this was the move played by Dubov. If I say the main idea of playing the Sicilian is to achieve d5, that is kind of right. And d5 in this position is simply a brilliant move in this position. White is having two ways to capture the pawn on d5. If you try to capture the pawn with the pawn, we have bishop f5. Pawn takes, you have to take, and after takes. The position is, after being to c6, the position is equally materially as well as positional. It doesn't look like, because black is having a weak pawn on c6, weak pawn on isolated pawn on a7, the pawn on e5 is a bit weak. Black castles have been destroyed. It looks like it should be better for white, but guess what? It's not, because after bc6, currently the pawn on c2 is hanging. So if you try to castle, like bishop into c2, this position is equal. This position is still equal, black is materially pawn up. And if you try to protect it by playing bishop d3, which is one of the most logical moves, here comes knight e4. You are pinning up the knight, and you are going to capture it on the next move. And if you really capture the knight in this position after bishop takes, I guess this position is still equal, because now black is having a bishop pair. And if you try to make a random move like short castle, you still lose c2 pawn. But here, like, the best move would be still castle. And after bishop c3, pawn takes, you can play f6, and the position is equal, 100%. Because, like, I would say black is the one slightly better in this position because of these pawn weakness, the bishop is hanging, etc. So yeah, so that's the reason. And it's equal. And if you try to capture this pawn with the bishop, we have bishop takes, pawn takes, and queen takes. And white simply loses the piece. So after bishop into f5, white have to capture the knight on f6 first, queen into f6, pawn takes, and this is what actually happened in the game by changing the move order, I would say. Like, in the game after d5, Nepo decided to capture the knight first. Queen takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. And here we have rook d8. You do not capture the pawn in this position, because white get this idea, though this position is still fine, you can still play rook d8. But okay, first rook d8, putting pressure on the bishop and the queen. And here we have a3, bishop to a5, because definitely when you want to castle, but this pin is annoying, definitely you need to get rid of the pins. Like, if white tries to castle in this position, 97 is a move that troubled, I guess, Nepo. And you have to find this move 94 in this position, queen f5, knight g3. The position is very complicated after queen f4. So yeah. But we first have a3, and here we have bishop to a5 by Dubov. A simple move would have been to take and play g6, and this position is also fine for black. You play king g7, rook e8, and I guess you guys can handle from here. But bishop to a5 by Dubov, keeping the position more complicated. b4, bishop to b6, and here we have short castle. And now bishop to d4, a very good move. Pinning up the knight. And if you really defend the knight, you simply take stakes and you simply lose the bishop. So you can't really do that. So white is having kind of the only move, which is to play knight to e4. hitting the queen. Here we have queen into f5 by black, capturing the pawn. And now materially speaking, white is still a pawn up, but the position is equal. So after queen f5, black is still hitting the bishop on d5. So you have to capture the knight. It's the obvious move and the fourth move. Pawn takes, and here we have queen to d2 by Nepo, which was a plenty. Like, I would say the best move in this position according to the engine was to play queen to d3 to support the knight. But guys, after queen c8, defending the rook, because basically you can't get the rook because your back rank mate is happening. So you first have to, you first have to defend the rook, and now currently black is hitting the rook. So if you try to, let's say, move the rook, here we have bishop into f2 check, takes, and this was the best that black can achieve, but this is still slightly better for black, because definitely you are having this for this, and this is better than this, isn't it? Yeah. And if you try to after queen c8, and if you try to move the queen from this pin, then after queen f3 you lose simply an exchange, and this position is still better for black. Black is an exchanger. That's the simple idea, guys. So yeah, and like if you try to play queen e2, you are still losing the rook, and if you try to move the rook to defend the knight, you still lose with this. So yeah. But what happened in the game is Nepo played queen to d2 and simply gave up the piece on e4. He simply gave up the piece. And I don't know was it a blunder or not, but he simply left the piece and Dubov simply captured it. After rook e1, queen f5, he played the move a4, trying to expand on the queen side, h5, c3, bishop b6, protecting the rook and also counter-attacking the queen, queen to e2, h4, simply going up with the pawn push. Here we have a5, bishop c7. Like if you try to capture the pawn, Dubov would happily trade the queens because he's a piece up. He's having no problems in converting this position. He can convert it by playing f6, queen f7, rook e8. The position is winning. But that's the reason bishop c7 happened in the game. Queen f6, h3, and at this point, Nepo lost on time. He played the move queen to c6, but the flag happened. But okay, still losing completely because after g2, you play queen g2. You're having like e4 is a good move, hitting this and this. The position is completely collapsing. That's the reason a brilliant game played by Dubov, and the way he plays cannot be played over the board. You need to be completely prepared off the board. To play on like this on the board, you need to have a huge preparation. So I guess if you are new to this, if you like the way Dubov played, you can check out his games. You can check out his games on Mega Database, Leeches, Chess.com. There are many numerous platforms to look for the games in the best of the best. So I hope that you guys have liked it. If you particularly like this variation in Sicilian, I guess you should definitely consider it in your preparation. You should try preparing it to play against in your games. So I hope that this game would have helped you to increase your chess level and skills. If it did, then make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit the make sure to share this video with everyone so that we can grow our community. So I'm going to see you soon. Till then, stay tuned and keep watching Oneshot Chess.